Qin Shi Huang, 221 to 210 BC. In 221 BC, the Qin people emerged from the west to unify China, overthrowing rival states under their leader, who took the title Qin Shi Huang, meaning First Emperor of Qin. He established a centralized government by dismantling the power of feudal lords and standardized various aspects of life, including weights and measures, currency, and the writing system. His reign also saw the construction of extensive road networks and an early iteration of the Great Wall of China. A proponent of legalism, which posits that humans are naturally evil and require strict control, Qin Shi Huang ruthlessly suppressed dissent. In 213 BC, nearly all books promoting philosophies other than legalism, such as Taoism and Confucianism, were burned, and around 460 scholars were executed the following year. Qin Shi Huang died in 210 BC, possibly due to mercury poisoning from his quest for immortality. He was buried with thousands of terracotta soldiers, which were not uncovered until the 1970s. The Qin Dynasty disintegrated just 4 years after his death, making way for the Confucian-leaning Han Dynasty. Kublai Khan, 1279 to 1294. After uniting the Mongolian tribes in 1206, Genghis Khan initiated incursions into what is now China. His grandson, Kublai Khan, finalized the conquest in 1279, bringing all of China under foreign dominion for the first time in its history. Establishing the Yuan dynasty, Kublai regarded the Chinese as legally subordinate and enlisted foreigners, including the Venetian traveler Marco Polo, to help govern. Kublai made efforts to win over the Chinese population by repairing wartime damage, easing harsh laws, promoting cultural activities, and expanding the efficient Mongolian postal system throughout China. He also honored his ancestors with Chinese names and constructed an imperial capital in Beijing, styled after Chinese traditions. Despite suffering from depression, gout, and obesity, Kublai maintained control until his death in 1294. The Mongol Empire began to weaken shortly after, leading to the fall of the Yuan dynasty in 1368. Sun Yat-sen, 1912. In the 19th century, China faced a series of military defeats, resulting in the loss of territory to powers like Britain, Russia, and Japan. These setbacks, along with insufficient reforms, spurred Sun Yat-sen, a medical doctor, to advocate for revolution. He envisioned replacing the Qing Dynasty with a government based on nationalism, democracy, and the welfare of the people. After an unsuccessful revolt in 1895, Sun went into exile to garner international support and funds. Several attempts followed, culminating in the creation of the Republic of China on January 1, 1912, with Sun serving as the provisional president. However, the revolutionaries were militarily weak, leading Sun to resign shortly after, facilitating the abdication of the Qing emperor. Yuan Shikai, a former Qing general, then took over as president, but betrayed the revolutionary cause by consolidating power for himself, ushering in a period dominated by regional warlords. Although Sun continued his efforts, organizing the Nationalist Party and aligning with the Soviet Union, he passed away in 1925, never seeing his dream fully realized. Mao Zedong, 1949 to 1976. As a founding figure of the Chinese Communist Party, Mao Zedong diverged from traditional Marxist-Leninist principles by mobilizing a Red Army, composed primarily of peasants rather than industrial workers. During the Chinese Civil War, which began in 1927 between the Communists and Nationalists, Mao led a famous 6,000-mile strategic retreat known as the Long March, cementing his leadership within the party. after a temporary alliance with the nationalists to fight Japanese invaders in the late 1930s, hostilities resumed post-World War II, culminating in the nationalists' retreat to Taiwan in 1949 and Mao's establishment of the People's Republic of China. Immediately, Mao initiated purges targeting hundreds of thousands of perceived counter-revolutionaries, redistributed land to peasants, asserted control over Tibet, and sent Chinese troops to fight against US forces in Korea. His ambitious Great Leap Forward aimed to rapidly industrialize and collectivize agriculture by forcing villagers into communes. However, this policy led to a catastrophic famine from 1958 to 1962, causing the deaths of up to 45 million people. The Cultural Revolution, starting in 1966, saw the rise of Red Guards who persecuted intellectuals and others deemed enemies of the state, resulting in approximately 1.5 million deaths. Mao remained China's leader until his death in September 1976. Deng Xiaoping, 1978 to 1989. Deng Xiaoping, initially a key figure in Mao's government during the 1950s, faced political purges during the Cultural Revolution, forcing him to work in a remote tractor repair station. He made a political comeback shortly before Mao's death, only to be sidelined again. However, he eventually outmaneuvered Mao's designated successor to become China's paramount leader in 1978. Once in power, Deng re-established diplomatic relations with the United States, secured an agreement for the return of Hong Kong from British control, and implemented significant economic reforms. These included dismantling agricultural cooperatives and welcoming foreign investment, which led to increased economic and personal freedoms. However, these liberalizations did not extend to the political arena. In June 1989, Deng ordered a military crackdown on pro-democracy protesters in Tiananmen Square, resulting in a violent suppression. Despite officially retiring later that year, Deng continued to wield substantial influence in China until his death in 1997.